it's Stephanie from Oh You're Lovely, where we carry the largest selection of wood flowers in the United States. Do not adjust your screens. I don't know that I've ever sat for a tutorial, but I am. There's a reason. All right, let's jump into it. Welcome back to another tutorial. I mentioned in my last tutorial, like right at the end, that I had injured my back. We're well over a week in now and I'm still in a lot of pain, standing, sitting, all that fun stuff. Nothing, I can't find any relief, but I, for filming, thought sitting might be a little bit better just because when I stand for too long, it all actually goes numb. So that's fun. And in this time while I was basically, I'm not bedridden, I'm recliner ridden with a heating pad and funky things and back braces and stuff. I got stir crazy. I am not used to not doing something at all times. And so I went down a rabbit hole, and this has been requested quite a bit, but I've never attempted it because I didn't think I could, but I can. We found out, or I found out. And that is to make a sola flower out of our sola rolls all on our own. So I challenged myself. In particular, we don't have a ton of sola flowers that are great for filler as far as like really tall, long elements, and I really wanted to tackle that. So that's what we did, and I'm just gonna show you one of the finished pieces beforehand. Normally I say let's just jump into it, but here is what we're gonna create. So it could definitely, I dyed a few purple, so they get that kind of lilac effect, but these would be really fun for some really tall, longer pieces in sola that is just all made by you. So let's jump into it. I'm gonna show you everything that I've learned so far. It's definitely a trial run. I'm gonna learn the more that I do this, so I haven't done it super like tons of, it's not 3 years in the making. I haven't done this for years, but definitely learned a few things, had a lot of fun, and now I'm kind of obsessed. So if this is something that you guys want to learn, if you want to be making your own like specialty flowers or something like that, let me know in the comments. I can't promise that I'm gonna be able to do them all, but it's definitely a fun challenge for me. And even with my nails, we were able to make some things happen. I came up with a couple things over this past week that I'm really excited to play around a little bit more and perfect before we show you guys. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. So go get yourself a sola roll and let's jump into it, shall we? The supplies that you're going to need are, this is rice glue, definitely optional, but is one of my favorite glues to work with. We're also going to be using this 3-in-1 advanced craft glue as well. I have a glue scraper, a small scissors, water. You could add glycerin, but I don't think it's necessary for this. Of course, the sola roll. And then we're gonna do two different methods. We're gonna do one using floral wire, and then we're gonna attempt to use a cut off floral stem from some greenery as well. You will also need paint and whatever else you would want to use to dye your flower if you're choosing to dye it. So we'll show you how to do that as well. But I don't have that set up yet, but I will. All right, so to get started, we're gonna take some of this sola roll, and sometimes when it comes, it's kind of stuck on itself, so that's totally normal. I'm gonna kind of take that off. Separate it, come on now. Also, I do have my oldest daughter here in the studio with me today, so if you hear some background noise, that's what's going on. She's moving around and stuff. I'm still dealing with a really bad back at the moment, so she's here to help me out if I need any help. I'm not gonna, for right now, I'm just gonna set that aside. We'll probably use that for testing out like dye and things like that. Now each of the sheets is gonna be different dependent on just the sheet itself. So sometimes they're really long, sometimes they're really short. I'm not going to do one super long piece. So I'm gonna eyeball it. I'm gonna cut this while it's still not wet at all. And then I'm going to cut it pretty much right down the middle or close to it, kind of eyeballing it. You can measure this if you want. If you've crafted with me long enough, you know I don't really do anything precise. Now get your water bottle. You can also just use a little bowl of water and either wet your fingers and then wet the sheets, or pop them in the bowl of water. By spraying this down, it's just gonna make it a little bit more manageable to like work with. It's not going to crack or break. It still could possibly, but there's a less likelihood of that happening. All right, so now that these are wet, we're gonna fold it in half. And these are actually too wide, so I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna cut it down the middle one more time. And you're gonna grab your 3-in-1 glue or your rice glue. I'm gonna use rice glue. And we're going to take a little bit of the glue and we're just gonna spread it. And it'll take a couple minutes to dry. As that is drying, I am gonna do one, so I have an already pre-made one. No, it's okay. We'll do one of the bigger ones, so we'll see. You can see the difference then of what it's gonna look like. We'll do one of these bigger ones. I would say these are about, I think the bigger one is probably about it looks a little bit more than 2 inches. You kind of want to have it close to 2 inches total, and then when you fold it over, you're closer to about 1 inch. I think we're both either a little over or a little under on these, but that's gonna be fine. We're gonna make it work. So these are still tacky from the glue, but we're gonna go forward. So now all we're gonna do is the side that is folded over, so not the raw edges, but the folded over end. We're going to just make little cuts all the way down. Just be careful not to cut all the way to the end. And these can be as uniformed as you want them to be. Again, I'm a pretty laid back maker, if you will, so I'm not measuring or overthinking this part. This one, because it's so much wider, I do want to make these a little bit more thinner of cuts. And this one, because of where that cut of sola happened, I'm just going to cut that short. I think these bigger guys, we're going to work with the green stem with these and see if that works a little bit better. And then the smaller guys will be with a wire instead. All right, let's get to dyeing next. So I've already started working on my paint. I have mixed Purple Petal by Deco Art Americana, and then Dioxine Purple, also by Deco Art Americana. I added just a little bit of glycerin as well. And we're gonna add in our water, a little bit at a time. And then I have an egg carton over here on the side. We're just going to, this is an option. If you want the sola flowers to be colored, I find it's a little bit easier to dye them beforehand versus dyeing them after you've already gotten them all wired up. All of this way. So we're gonna dye the sola roll first, and then we're gonna assemble. So we'll do this, and then we're gonna wait till these are fully dry, and then we'll start assembling. I'm gonna take a piece of the discarded and just see how that is. I don't want it to be super, super thick of paint. I think that'll be good. Yep. Yeah, that'll be good. The reason why I'm doing this too is so that the inside as well in here, and this is when I'm going to kind of start fluffing this open a little bit, also gets some dye on it. So I would myself personally wait to dye them and do the kind of the first part of the construction first and then dye them instead of dyeing the sheets. Because if you dye the sheets and then you construct it and you're cutting, you're still gonna have white peeking through on those cuts because you didn't have paint touch them, obviously. So you wanna do it after you've made your little fringies, but not before. What am I trying to say? Not after you've already constructed it. So dye it before you're gonna construct it, but after you've already made your cuts and stuff on the, hopefully that makes sense as to why I did the order I did. All right, we're gonna let these dry and then we're gonna come back and we'll start constructing. All right, we are back. They have completely dried. Now, this one I've kind of fluffed open. You can see, you can kind of get through there. I did spray this down with some water to make it a little bit more flexible to work with. And then I have an 18 gauge floral wire, and I have made a little loop on this. I'm gonna straighten that out just a little bit. And that's going to be where we start our flower from. Now there's lots of different ways that you can do this, but I found it to be helpful to kind of give me a start that's a little bit more solid than just gluing it around this, the base of the wire. But whatever works for you is gonna be just fine. This is just one other way to do it. All right, so I'm gonna take my loop and kind of slide it on down in between the two pieces. And now we're going to start wrapping this around. Now this is where the 3-in-1 glue is going to come in handy. So I'm going to grab just a little bit of that. This is going to dry clear, and it dries pretty quickly. Just a little there to that stop point, and I'm gonna squish this a little bit. Then, if you're wanting to add additional layers on, we're gonna grab another part of the sola, little fringy guys we made. And what we're gonna do, glue, and we're going to continue on. And you're going to continue on until you're at a spot that you are happy with. I'm going to stop that here. We're just going to do the 2 layers for this one. And then you can tie that off with string if you want, depending on like where the layer is. But for me, I'm just gonna add, again, a little bit more glue. We're gonna let that sit and dry. And then we should be good to go on that one. So let's try another method real quick and we'll see if it works. I'm not 100% sure if it will, but let's give it a go. All right, guys, we are back. We're gonna try something different. I haven't tried this out, so hopefully it'll work. But what we're gonna be using is a floral stem cut off from a piece of greenery. I always keep these. And I will say, the more I do this, the more I learn. But you definitely want to leave a little bit more space at the base of where you're wrapping around and gluing so that you don't keep accidentally tearing these off while you're playing around with them. But that's okay, because this little part right here is going to be perfect to wrap around here. I am going to, for this one though, use hot glue instead of using the 3-in-1 craft glue because of the base that we're working with. I want to get a little bit more coverage, so I'm going to grab a little bit of hot glue, pop it on there, not burn my fingers, cover up the base of this as best I can. Then what we're going to do, I'm going to grab another dab of glue, and like we did with the other one, we're going to start to twist and roll that on down. I'm going to keep adding little dots of glue as we step. This is similar to like almost like wrapping a bouquet handle. As you reach certain points, you can add a little bit of glue for stability, or not add enough glue. Goodness, what the heck was that about? I don't want a lot of stringy, guys, so we're gonna hopefully... I don't have a lot of these wide pieces, so once I get through this last round, that's it for the piece for right now. But you can definitely add as you go. So if you're working on something like this and there is an issue with like a piece comes undone or rips off, have no fear. Have no fear at all. You can keep adding to it and building your stem with smaller pieces if necessary. I'm gonna move that a little bit to cover that glue spot. And this is a little fickle. I will say, working with hot glue, I would probably, in the building of this, do maybe not hot glue, but low temp glue. I'm not sure, I haven't tried the low temp yet, but I do have a little concern for your little cute little fingers using hot glue with something like this. You could possibly though, I know some people like to take and lay down E6000 on something and then put a dab of hot glue on it to like hold it in place. So you could do maybe the E6000 with a dab of low temp glue to hold everything in place and not have to worry about your fingers. Okay, so now I'm just gonna squish that. And I just realized you couldn't see what I was doing right there, so hopefully I was just squishing it as we were gluing in place. I am going to add a little bit of this other glue now and hold my layer. Now the other thing I just did with one of the raw ones that I had done earlier is I grabbed a piece of greenery that has where the hole goes all the way through. Slide my wire in, and that'll help with the bottom base kind of finishing things off. You could, if you wanted to, even wrap like a little bit of floral tape or something around the bottom to really finish that off, but look how cute that is. It's just really cute all by itself too. All right, you guys, there you have it. That's not too bad, right? It's a little, especially if you want to dye this particular style, I would definitely, if you want it color and not in that cream sola color, I would definitely dip dye the sheets first before constructing, I don't know. I mean, we could dip dye this right now and see what happens. I don't wanna though. I don't think you'll get the same like completely finished look as the method that I showed you in this tutorial. So if you make your own, please, 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 please share them with us. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, the Facebook group, email, however you want to. I would love to see if you make some of these. Also, if you have any questions, you can always drop them down in the comments. Again, I'm no expert, but I will do my best to answer any questions that you guys have, or if you have any tips or tricks for me, lay them on me. I would love to hear them. All right, you guys, I'm going to go rest, and I will talk to you super soon. Oh, all the YouTube things. Where am I? Who am I? What am I? Oh, jeez. Tell you what, Tylenol is going to my head. If you're new around here, loving these videos, can't get enough, want to know when the next one goes live, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell to find out about the 150 style sola wood flowers along with craft supplies and greenery. Go to ohyourlovely.com, but before you run off, hold on. Use the code YouTube30 to get 30% off your first order. All right, you guys, that's everything now. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Mwah. Stay safe, healthy, all those things. I'm gonna rest now. Okay,